Today we're going to be talking about mini surveys. It's the smart way to evaluate a boat without spending a fortune in airline fees, ground transportation, and hotels. Now, the best deals on yachts in the world are generally not conveniently located. They are usually in far-flung areas like offshore islands in the Caribbean or the Indian Ocean or wherever. But if you're willing to take a yacht down there, you can save a lot of money. On a $250,000 yacht, you could typically save $15, $20, maybe $30,000, and I can deliver the boat anywhere in the world for between $2 and $3 a mile. So it often pays to buy in these remote locations. These remote areas are areas called low demand areas. High demand areas would be like in Europe, South Florida, places like that. And for example, if I had a hot listing, which right now the hottest listings are owner version sailing catamarans between 40 feet and 50 feet, that is what the market wants. And we often run out of those boats in the middle of the winter. And so if I had that listing, for example, in Fort Lauderdale, which is the supermarket for yachts in the Western Hemisphere, I might have 20 prospective buyers a month minimum looking at that boat. That exact same boat, 700 miles away in Belize, is only going to have one buyer every 3 months at best. So you see, there's a supply-demand imbalance there, and that's why the sellers have to motivate the buyers to go to these remote areas. And if you can buy a boat for $20,000 less in Belize and then deliver it to, say, South Florida for $1,600, which is the last price I paid to deliver a boat from there, well, you're ahead of the game. So I think it pays to use many surveys, because oftentimes these boats that are in outlying areas are listed by local agents that aren't really the most professional, and so they don't give us enough information. They're lacking in photos that are good. You know, sometimes they'll take a picture of a cleat, who wants to see that? And they don't really always include all of the equipment that's going with the boat. So this is another reason to do a mini survey. A mini survey is usually done by a certified marine surveyor, one of the SAMs, NAMs, Bureau Veritas, Germanicus Lloyd's. Surveyors are good for this. They are held to a higher standard. They have continuing education. So you want to use one of them. And a lot of these boats are, when they're listed, they're in French tax shelter programs. And those boats are usually owned by sellers who are totally different from your typical seller. These sellers are very non-emotional because the owners are usually a group of investors put together by a French CPA. They're very non-emotional. I mean, they literally call me up and they say, okay, I have a boat phasing out of the program in next March, and it's a Lagoon 450, so what's the lowest price for a Lagoon 450 in the world today? And I'll go, oh, okay, 375,000 euros. And he'll say, all right, price it at 374. You work out the photos with one of the local guys. I'm really busy. I got 40 other boats phasing out, so don't bother me too much. Just get it sold by then, okay? Bye. And this is their attitude. It's not like the typical American or Canadian who's trying to squeeze every little penny out of the boat. And so these type of sellers create really good deals sometimes. And this is why you want to be willing to take a boat like in a French jurisdiction. So that would be Martinique, Guadeloupe, St. Martin, Tahiti. Those are the main locations for the French tax shelter boats. Now, these type of boats have spec sheets put together by the charter manager, and he usually assigns it to some, the bilge cleaner, who, he's assigned to go right up the equipment list, so it's not done very well, and he takes the photos, and he doesn't know what he's doing. So this is why we have such poor information on the boats. And this is why we can't trust the spec sheets, which is another reason to get a mini survey. Now, what's a mini survey? It is when the surveyor goes there for 1 to 2 hours. He takes about 80 to 100 photos, which he'll send to you, and he'll usually write a 1 to 2 page summary of findings, or he'll brief you on the phone for 30 minutes or whatever by Skype. And these usually cost between $200 and $300 or euros, depending on where you are. And sometimes part or all of that can be credited to a full pre-purchase survey if you later decide to go for that. Now, when we get this mini survey, we really know what we have here because they will spot all of the defects. And you always want to choose a surveyor that does catamarans all the time because they are up to date on the warranty issues, manufacturer recalls, and what the defects are in all these boats. One other thing to keep in mind, when we're dealing with a really hot listing, remember we're in an international market where there's a lot of people looking at the hot listings, and these boats can sell very quickly, unexpectedly. So you may want to use a first option strategy along with the mini survey, and I'm going to explain that in another video. So I'll see you next time.